So, and that's a move. One of the moves that I love that liberals try to do. The liberal would try to control a black person through the concept of racism because they know that we are very proud, emotional people. So when I said I like Trump to like someone that's liberal, they'll say, oh, but he's racist. You think racism can control me? Oh, that don't stop me. That's an invisible wall.
I'm sorry. We should have put up a warning underneath that video you just saw. He's crazy. He's mentally ill. He shouldn't be allowed in public. He's obviously a white supremacist. You can tell by looking at him. And that was, in the words of CNN, a minstrel show. So pay no attention. Don't let those words penetrate your consciousness. Chris Hahn is an attorney, radio show host, and former staffer to Senator Chuck Schumer. He joins us tonight. Chris, great to see you. So did that look like a minstrel show led by a white supremacist, Kanye West, to you?
No, look, I'm a fan of Kanye West. I do not think he looked extra fly in that spot last night. He did hit on a couple of points that I agreed with when he talked about stop and frisk, when he said, let's take the again off the hat, because, you know, that is kind of the race baiting that a lot of people see in it. He made some good points. He made some points I disagree with.
Okay.
Well,
I'll let that pass because it's so dumb. I can't even do that.
People who didn't like the black president, they want to make America great again by removing
nothing to do with Obama being black. Come on now, so, please. Okay, but whatever. I don't even debate that. I just want to look. So I like your posture. Okay, then let me just throw you a compliment and say I'm not here to defend Kanye West. I'm here to defend always the free exchange of ideas, honest discourse. Let's stop the lying. The country's drowning in lying. Everyone lies all the time. It's driving me insane. Why do you think there has been, and we're not making it up, you saw the videos we played, this effort to destroy this guy as a man because he's saying things that are unhelpful to the Democratic Party? I mean, do you want to live in a country where people do that?
You know, I don't think there's been an effort to destroy him as a man by Democrats across this country. I think there were some people who were particularly offended by it. I watched the entire Michael Dyson interview. I think that you pulled out some of the particularly harsh parts, but he was very kind to Kanye and his genius over the years.
When he said he was a ventriloquist for white supremacism? I mean, there's nothing kind about that. Look, it's an awful thing to say.
He made some harsh comments, and look, there's nothing President Trump wants more than to stand next to celebrities. But I will say this, when a celebrity comes out in favor of Trump, the right goes crazy and they applaud it. When a liberal celebrity makes a statement, they say, shut up and act, shut up and sing. That's the thing I'm seeing here. I'm seeing conservatives rallying around West and holding him up and saying liberal, you know, when a liberal celebrity does it,
you're making a you're making a semi-fair point. Let me agree with you that there is this impulse to dismiss people. I've participated in it. I regret that. Every time I dismiss someone out of hand, I regret it. I think you should assess the substance of what they're saying. And I just read a long script that put the caveat in. This guy's an entertainer. He's not like a policy expert. But what I really care about, underneath all of this partisan nonsense, is the fact this is a free country I was born into, and it's becoming less free because the left does not acknowledge another side to the debate, and they're trying to squelch speech. And they're doing it in the Congress and HR departments, in the big tech world. They are hurting people who disagree with them. And I think as an old-fashioned liberal, you want to stand up and say, no, you're allowed to say what you think. Sorry.
You are allowed to say what you think. And I think that includes protesters who show up on Capitol Hill to protest a Senate vote, who the president is calling an angry mob. And the Republicans are all campaigning on that angry mob because they can't campaign on ideas. If they had ideas to campaign on, they wouldn't have to try to scare their constituents.
Look, I'm not here to defend. Look, I think I'm not here to defend the Republican Congress, which totally ignored the expressed will of voters in 2016 who said, we want a border wall. We've got 22 million people here illegally. Let's do something about it. No, said their donors, so they ignored it. So, look, I don't want to get sucked into a debate defending something I don't believe in. But I will say that it's not honest if you're claiming you don't know what I'm talking about, that people are being fired across this country and savaged personally across this country for disagreeing with liberal orthodoxy on social issues.
Well, no, I don't think that's
you don't know
true.
what I'm talking about?
People are being fired. People are being fired, and they're being removed for reasons other than that. They're being removed because they are in a workplace hurting people and making it hard for people to go
hurting
and do
people.
Their work.
Okay. So I get it. So what you're doing is what they all do, which is conflate speech with violence. But when there's actual violence, when a congressman gets shot at baseball practice or Ted Cruz gets pushed out of a restaurant, no big deal.
I condemn that.
Yeah, well, I didn't hear a lot of other people condemning it.
Look, I condemn people getting attacked when they're out to eat with their families.
Good.
But I do not condemn, I do not call it an angry mob when people show up at Congress and protest, which is what the president, what Mitch McConnell, and what other Republicans across this country are doing.
Well, it is an angry mob. You got all these people screaming.
There is a right to protest in this country. Just as Kanye has a right to go to the White House and say whatever he wants, there is a right for people to protest in this country.
But what they're saying, but hold on,
and not demonizing the people doing it.
It's a little much for me to take a lecture about free speech and freedom of assembly when it's under attack exclusively by the left, and I'm defending it every night. But let me just ask you a final question. You've heard from Don Lemon and that preacher guy, Eric Michael Dyson, who actually I think lives in my neighborhood, a rich white neighborhood, by the way, Mr. Man of the People, that he has an obligation, Kanye West, to take a certain position because he's black. Do you think that's true? Should black people be required to vote Democrat? That seems to be the position of your whole party.
Look, I think it's been a long time since Kanye has had to split the buffet at KFC with anybody. I don't think it's a black-white thing. I think it's a class thing right now for Kanye. And Kanye is making a lot of money on these tax cuts. Most Americans are not. That's
but you're not.
The problem.
First of all,
That's
I can't look. I'm not going
to.
I don't know if Kanye eats at quote KFC or not. But I will say that what
that's
those,
a line from one of his songs.
The buffoons
one of his best
on.
Songs. You should look it up.
I'm sure. I'm not. Whatever. But I'm not. So. I'm responding to what people are saying right now, which is Kanye West as a black man is betraying black people by voting Republican or being nice to Trump. Do you think that's true?
Look, I don't know. I don't want to speak for African Americans across this country.
What?
I do think that he's wrong and misguided.
But are you allowed as a black person to think differently from Eric Michael Dyson?
I think that this president who stood up and said that there were fine people on both sides of a white supremacist march should not be supported by many people in this country who care about race relations.
Right. Well, I care about race relations, which is why I'm not spewing racism on my show, unlike
there's room over here for you, Tucker. Come on over.
Right. It's the last place I go. But thank you, Chris.